Welcome to Panels in Progress. This podcast is for comic and manga creators, and together we will explore a variety of topics surrounding comic creation. In this episode, I'll discuss who I am, my comic creating journey so far, why I decided to make this podcast, who the podcast is for, what types of topics we'll discuss in the future, dreams and aspirations, ideas for what this space can become one day. So let's start with who am I? My name is Chris Warthen, and I have a passion for comics and manga. I started seriously creating comics back in 2019. Went to art school for animation, and after that kind of stopped drawing for a while, but the love for comics and manga never disappeared, and thus I decided to start creating them. Started posting a short, funny comics on Instagram first, and then I also have a horror comic on Webtoon Canvas that I self-publish. And currently I'm working on my one-shot comic called Doppel. Why did I decide to create this podcast? When I started, there was not a lot of info regarding how to make comics. There was some books, there was some YouTube videos, but still all the information was scattered, and I kind of cobbled the process together through books, YouTube videos, school a little bit, and I would really prefer that all of this information was in one general area. Another reason I want to make this podcast is because I really enjoy how artists think, how they create their comics, their manga, how they generate ideas, their planning, their thought process. I like to see from start to finish how the comic came to be, and I want to share what I'm learning in this process as well as what I have learned in the past. This is going to be basically a resource of information that I wish I had access to when I was growing up, information that I wish that I had known before I went to college, before I went to art school, basically. And basically, yeah, it's just a conglomerate of information altogether. Who is this podcast for? So this podcast is for anyone who loves making comics or manga, someone who wants to make comics or manga, someone who is still creating comics but loves to talk about all things comics, from start to finish, and give me some grace because I might not always say comics and manga, but when I refer to the medium of comics, I'm talking about all sequential art. I understand that there's differences, but I just love all of it. So when I'm talking about one, I'm always talking about the other. All right, future topics. All things related to the creation of comics. Some mindset things to be thoughtful about, like how to plan your comic, time management, self-motivation, the little details all the way to the big details, and what inspires us. And every now and then I will share what I'm reading, what I'm being inspired by, and basically it won't be a review, but it will be basically an artist's take on what I'm seeing. So why did the artist make their paneling this way? Why did they use this type of font for the bubbles? Basically anything related to making comics, about comics, story, anything is on the table in this podcast. Some of the future ideas, and intentions for this podcast is that I want to create a community of creators where we can share our ideas, share our thoughts, share our process, and share ways to improve not only our storytelling but our artwork and motivate each other. I would love for you guys to ask questions that I may have the answer to, and if I don't, I will be able to research and try to not only inform you, but I'll also be informing myself because I still have a lot to learn on this process. Eventually, I would like to have a place where you, the listener, can send in your comic to me and we can go through it, review it as far as, offer feedback and help each other become better artists. So I want this podcast to be inspiring for you to work on your comic just as I'm working on mine, and then together we can motivate each other to get our stories out to the world. If anything I said sounds interesting to you, then please share this podcast with your friends or fellow comic creators, and together we can go on this journey and make the best comics that we can. So let me know in the comments what got you into comic or manga. What story made you want to create your own? And how did that story inspire you to tell the story you're working on now? You'll soon find out how much I love a great story. So if you're interested in hearing about my inspirations, I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks.